So hi, we're going to start the webinar. I'm sure other people are going to be dialing in, but I know that there's a lot to cover today and I wanted to just get started right away as soon as we could. So welcome to today's webinar, How to Write a Business Plan. I'm Heidi Shepard, the project director for the DC Women's Business Center. And joining me today is Justin Harderson. He's the Director of Government and Academic Partnerships at Palo Alto Software, where he works closely with women's business centers across the country that are incorporating LivePlan into their business advising and educational services. And he lives in Eugene, Oregon with his family. And he's helped hundreds of entrepreneurs grow their businesses through writing business plans. And personally, he enjoys time in the outdoors, as most people in that part of the world do. And so Justin, can you give us the next slide? Thanks. The Washington, D.C. Women's Business Center is part of a national network of business centers around the country. We are all funded by the Small Business Administration. Our office is hosted by NCRC, the National Community Reinvestment Coalition. We exist to empower women to achieve small business success by providing training, mentoring, business development, and financing opportunities. Next slide. We envision a thriving ecosystem of women entrepreneurs in the DC metro region who have access to the tools, capital, knowledge, and networks to create a supportive environment in which to grow their businesses. So we provide free one-on-one counseling services to women. We help them with business plan writing, financial projections, marketing materials, and making connections and referrals to funding resources. And we also provide assistance for those interested in federal contracting and procurement opportunities. We were launched in 2010, and since that time, we have reached over 8,000 entrepreneurs through either one-on-one counseling or training webinars. I hope you enjoy today's session with Justin and learning how to write a business plan. And I will be back at the end to say thank you. I'm going to hand it over to Justin.
Great. Thanks so much, Heidi. And thank you everybody for joining today. Really excited to share this content with you and just engage with the group. And thanks to the DC Women's Business Center for inviting me to present this. We're really excited about our partnership there and the resources that we can bring to all of the entrepreneurs that you work with. All right, so the topic today is how to write a business plan. And my goal for the day is to make this, I don't know if business planning can be fun necessarily, but at least make it less stressful and more valuable for your business planning needs. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today. And Heidi gave a great intro. So I'm on the LivePlan team here at Palo Alto Software. And a quick background on the company, our company Palo Alto Software. So we were founded in Palo Alto in the late 80s. And our founder wrote a software called Business Plan Pro that helped entrepreneurs to get through the process of writing a business plan, doing their financial projections. And from that, LivePlan kind of evolved. And so for a long time, we've been working with entrepreneurs and small business owners to help them plan and launch and grow their businesses. And our mission as a company is to help small business owners succeed. And we do that through teaching planning best practices and making tools and resources that can help you plan effectively to not just launch your business, but to be successful in the long run. So on the agenda today, we have done the welcome and introductions. And so I'm going to kick things off with a lean planning overview to talk about the concept of lean planning. And then I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the slides. I'm going to jump into LivePlan and talk about and show you how to write a lean business plan, and then how to take that lean plan and turn it into any kind of business plan that you need, and how that works. And I'm on the LivePlan team. This resource is available to you through the DC Women's Business Center. So if you want to use this software to write your business plan, it can be helpful, and it is available to you. But the principles that I'll talk about today can be applied through any tool, and really to any business, regardless of what stage you're at. So whether you're pre-revenue, if you just have an idea and you're trying to turn this into a business, or if you've been running your business for a while and you just need to kind of formalize what you're doing into a plan, this webinar and the content and the resources that I'm going to share are going to be relevant to you. And regardless of what tool you use, these are going to be really, really useful best practices. But I am on the LivePlan team, and that is the tool that we're highlighting. So I'll demonstrate these things through LivePlan, and then I'll talk about what next. So once you have this lean business plan in place, what can you do with it? How can you use that and leverage the work that you've done to manage and run your business better and track your growth and keep that strategic focus? And then at the end, I'm hoping to have some time to open things up for questions and discussions. And Heidi just put a note in that chat box. So if you can find the chat feature on the webinar panel, feel free to put in questions throughout the webinar. So if there's anything that I mentioned that prompts any questions, you don't have to save those to the end. Feel free to just put those in the chat window. Heidi will be keeping an eye on that. I'll try to keep an eye on those and try to address those questions right when you have them. But we will try to leave some time here at the end to address all of the questions. All right. So this is an introduction to the concept of lean planning. So when we say lean planning, what do we mean? And really this graphic here does a good job of illustrating the concept of lean planning. And so you can see it's a cyclical process as opposed to a kind of one-time activity with a beginning and an end point. And the process is to put your plan into place, to put that plan into action, and then review the results and see, okay, what happened, make adjustments from there, and then go back to your plan and rework that. So this is a concept that was taken from, it's really kind of like the scientific method, right? You have a hypothesis, you test it, you look at the results, you update the experiment, and then you go from there. And this kind of scientific approach was actually used for manufacturing, and it was really, really successful for that. And then, of late, this has been applied to business and to business planning of, do a lot of tests, look at the results, and be revising and updating things as you go. And this has been a really, really successful approach to business planning compared to the business planning of old. And we'll talk a little bit about the differences there. But first I want to focus on just the importance of doing any of this work. Why plan? Why do the extra work of planning and formalizing a plan and writing something down? And these are some of the stats that really highlight the importance there. So entrepreneurs who complete a business plan, it doesn't need to be a 100-page formal lender-ready type business plan, but who complete a plan are 2.6 times more likely to start a business than those who did not complete their plan, and 94% more likely to get an investment. So if you are looking for any kind of funding or investment for your business, a business plan is going to be a critical component of that. But beyond that, just going through the process of developing your plan is going to really set you up for success in the long term. And the U.S. Small Business Administration refers to a business plan as an essential roadmap for success. All right, so we'll talk a little bit about the traditional plan, and really with the concept of lean planning, what we're trying to do is take all of the valuable parts of the traditional business planning process and conserve those, and get rid of the things that were we're taking too much time and effort and not giving you the right trade-off in terms of value. So the hard thing with the traditional business plan is they're just so long, and you have to do so much research, and the future is unclear. We can't predict the future exactly, so you make a lot of assumptions when you write a business plan. And if you expound on those assumptions and you write this big long plan, by the time you get to the end of it, a lot of those assumptions may have changed, or they're out of date, or you put a lot of effort into something that you're just going to have to change later. And if you write this big long plan, you feel more committed to it. And so the whole concept of the lean plan is you go much smaller, and you can finish your plan quickly, put it into place, and then see what actually happens. So treating your plan more like hypotheses that you're going to test rather than facts that you're writing down. And that goes back to kind of this lean planning cycle where you're never really finished, but it's much easier to get something in place and get started. And then you're able to improve that as you get more information. All right, kind of like we mentioned before, the benefit to this lean planning process is that it really applies to any industry, any stage of business you're at, and different financing needs, whether you're applying for an SBA-backed loan, you're applying for PPP funding, you are just kind of fundraising, maybe crowdfunding, fundraising from friends and family. All of those things can kind of be helped by creating a lean plan for your business. And the challenge is, how do you determine the right amount of planning for you in the stage that you are at? And really the answer to that is, what you want to think about is creating the smallest, most appropriate plan for your needs, and just know that changes are going to be made as you learn from those experiences. All right, so now we're going to start to jump into the LivePlan software to show an example of what a lean plan comes together and looks like. And before I do that, I do see one really good question here. The question is, does a lean plan apply for nonprofits looking for funding? So yeah, absolutely. Even if you are a nonprofit versus a for-profit company, these planning principles and actually the components that are going to go into the lean plan are going to be critical for a nonprofit, especially if you are looking for funding. And we've had a lot of nonprofits actually be successful using the LivePlan pitch and also the further planning components to launch nonprofits and get funding, and also compete in some competitions and get funding that way. So definitely all of the components of that lean plan will apply, and I'll try to talk about that, maybe what the slight differences would be for a nonprofit versus a for-profit venture. All right, so this is Shauna. So this is a fictional gym owner here in Eugene, and it's a really good example of somebody who did a great job with a lean plan. And so this is really the case study that we're going to be using once we get into LivePlan and starting to look at the plan that Shauna put together for her gym. And so just some facts about Shauna, just to give some context as we're looking at this plan. She's a former track and field college athlete, which is Eugene is a great place to be if you are a former track and field college athlete. Lots of great track and field events here, and a great stadium in Hayward Field to hold those events. Graduated with a communications degree and economics minor. She had a career as a communications director for the San Francisco Giants for 15 years before returning to her college town with her family. And she opened Sweat Equity in 2014 with the goal of being the premier gym in town. All right, so we can go ahead and jump into LivePlan now to show you what this looks like. All right, so we'll go to the pitch page here, and this is the starting point, and this is really where you would put together a lean business plan in LivePlan, is what we call the pitch. And so looking at the pitch for Shauna here, we'll go through and I'll do a quick summary, then I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into each of these components, and you can start thinking about how these might apply to your business and what you might want to put in here. But just a quick overview here. At the top of our pitch, we have the business name and we have the logo, and this is the headline. So I'll put a pretty good focus on the headline today, but this is basically, one statement, maybe a couple sentences that can describe your business for somebody who's never heard of it before. And what you want to do with the headline is really pack as much information as you can and make it as clear and concise as possible to really help to communicate to somebody, not just what your business does, but what makes you unique and different from other businesses that are out there, and what puts you in a position to succeed. So that's the headline, and we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that. But the next section here is the opportunity. So this is really putting a laser focus on the problem that your business is solving, how you're solving it, who you're solving it for, and then who else is solving these similar problems that your target market is having, and what makes your business unique or different from theirs. If we keep scrolling down here, we have an optional section for funding needed. So not every business needs funding. So you may be up and running already, or you may be bootstrapping. But if you do need funding, you want to include that in your plan and make sure that you have a plan for how that funding is going to be spent. And now for this lean plan, we get into a little bit more tactical items here. So, what is our business model going to look like? And starting with the sales channels. So this is, how are you going to sell your product? How are your customers going to be able to purchase your service offering or your product? And then marketing activities. How are you going to let people know about your business and the solutions that you're providing? And then we start to get into the forecast, and the forecast in our lean plan is really nice because, as you can see, there are no numbers here. So really you can just start thinking about that financial model. What are the major revenue categories? Where are you getting money from? And what are the big things that you're going to be spending money on? And then down the road, when you start to actually do your financial projections, this is going to help you because you've already thought about kind of what these major categories are, that then you would go and start putting some actual numbers to. And then we get really tactical here with the milestones. So a couple different ways that you can use this milestones area. One is to put in major milestones that would be important for a lender. So if you are planning on giving this pitch and pitching for investment, or including this pitch in a package that you put together for a loan, then these milestones will communicate to the lender what those major milestones that are coming up are. If you're using this as more of a strategic internal plan, then these milestones are, what does the team need to do to execute on this business plan? Make sure that it's assigned to somebody, that you have a date to it, so it takes your plan and it turns it into something, it turns it into action, to make sure that everybody is pulling in the same direction for the business. And then the last two parts of the plan here, super important. So the team, who's on your team, and what are the kind of unique skills and experiences that they have to really help your business succeed. And so you can really highlight your team members here, including future hires that are not on the team yet, but you know are going to be a critical part of the success here. And then lastly, thinking about who is going to be helping you, who are the partners and major resources that are a critical component of your business plan and business model. And that is the last component of our Lien plan here. So really, this is capturing everything that would be in your business plan, and it gives you the ability to look at all these things at a really high level and to summarize this and to capture kind of that whole business model before you go and write a full lender ready type business plan, before you do all of your financial projections. This gives you the ability to kind of put all of your guesses and hypotheses down that you think apply to your business, and then to get out there and start testing those. The whole goal here is to do the least amount of planning that you need to do in order to get out and actually take action and start doing the activities that are going to move your business forward. So this initial planning step is just helping you to visualize what that roadmap looks like, know the things that you're going to be going out and testing, and this Lien plan, this pitch, should be evolving as you start to get the answers to some of those questions. All right, so now that we've done an overview, I'll walk through how this comes together in LivePlan and spend a little bit more time on each of these components here. And to do that, I'll just click into any of these sections here. And basically what LivePlan does is it'll walk you through this outline and kind of give you instructions each step of the way. So again, you can use a lot of different frameworks and tools to do this type of Lien plan. It's really similar to a business model canvas type framework or a design thinking framework, if you've heard of those. But we took those frameworks and tried to simplify them and make it really easy for any business owner to get through this Lien planning process. And everything starts here with the headline. So if you read the instructions here, the headline is a strong, compelling description of your company and the business opportunity that you're addressing. What are the keys to success? Is your business based on an innovative product or service? Is there an unserved market you've identified? So those are some of the things that you can think about with this headline. And again, the goal is to, in as brief a way as possible and something that's concise but also engaging, you want to be able to quickly describe your business. So somebody walks up to you on the street and says, "Hey, what do you do for work?" And you tell them you're a small business owner, and they say, "Oh, great. What does your business do?" This is the answer to that question in a way that really drives home the unique value that your business is bringing to the market. So that's a good way to think about this headline. So you can see here, our gym owner. So like we had in her bio, she wants her gym to be the local premier gym. And there's a lot packed into just that description there. So she's separating her gym not based on pricing, but really based on quality. So right off the bat, we know that this gym is being positioned as the premier gym in the market. So it's probably not going to be the cheapest gym around, but it's going to have the amenities that you would expect from a truly premier gym. And a social hub where a whole family can work out, relax, snack, and self-care at a quality level unavailable locally. So there's also a lot packed into that last part of the sentence there. A quality level unavailable locally. So that's really communicating, in the Eugene gym market right now, there are no other gyms that are serving this particular demographic that we want to target with a premier gym of this caliber. So, as you're thinking about what headline you might want to put for your business, think about, truly what separates you from the other businesses that are out there. And this headline can actually be easier to write once you've gone through all these other sections of the pitch. So this is a great way to kind of start that iterative process of, put the best headline you can think of, and then go through the rest of the pitch, incorporate everything that you learned by going through the rest of this Lien plan back into your headline, see if there's anything you want to change or update. And the best way to really test your headline is just to share it with people. Share it with your friends, with your family, your business partner. Once you write that headline down, start telling it to people, see what kind of questions they have, and then use that feedback to update your headline. And then from there, you can start talking to potential customers or current customers to really see if that headline makes sense. All right, so the next step here is the problems that your business is solving. And again, even if you are an up and running business, taking a step back and really thinking about what are those problems that we're really solving for our customers. So we're selling a product and people are buying it. So you really want to focus on, well, what are those problems that they're having that we're addressing here? And this can really help to inform a lot of your strategy and also how you're going to be marketing and communicating about your product. And there's a couple different ways in the LivePlan format to fill this out. So you can do a description. I really like doing bulleted lists. That's just easier for me than writing some sentences or paragraphs. So I like to do a short list here and just kind of list out what those major problems are. But really think about those core problems that your business is solving, and try to get below the surface layer and think about the deep kind of motivating problems that your customers or potential customers are having, and how you're going to address those. And so if you're a nonprofit, this is a huge component of how you're going to be communicating the value that your nonprofit is going to bring, of really focusing in on those problems and defining them. If you can put some type of statistic or number in here to show the urgency, the size of the problem that your nonprofit is going to be tackling, then it's really going to make the rest of this pitch and this Lien plan effective by setting the stage for that problem right off the bat. All right, and the next step here is solutions. So how is your business going to be solving the problems that your customers are having? So this is where our gym starts to really list some of the things that differentiate it and make it that premier quality gym. It's one thing to say, hey, we're going to be the most premier gym in town. This is getting to how are you going to do that specifically? And this is the solution that you're bringing. So here we have the Shauna, the gym owner, talking about the detail, the luxurious details that are in here, setting themselves apart with daily family visits, and talking about the event space that they have. So really being more specific on exactly how they're going to solve those problems, and your solution should be correlating really closely to the problems that you're solving. So you should be able to switch back and forth between these and really make a direct connection between your solution and those problems that your clients and customers are experiencing. All right, so now we have the target market. So this is where you really start to break down and define who you're solving problems for. And the great thing about the way that LivePlan approaches this is it's going to ask you kind of the right questions for you to go out and find some information to fill in here. And so if we go in here to build this chart, LivePlan will ask you, how many people are in the segment, how much are they spending on the product or service that you're providing, and that will start to give you an idea of the total opportunity that your business has. And this is where it really, really helps to be working with an organization like the Women's Business Center, because they can help you to do this research. They can help you to find this information. So LivePlan is just asking the question and giving you somewhere to put that information, and then helping you to display it in a visual way that looks organized and professional. But really, helping to answer these questions to discover what the opportunity is and truly where you should be focusing your strategic efforts. The Women's Business Center is a great place to go to get some help and some direction in answering those questions. And again, these are not set in stone, right? So you may learn as you run your business that you thought childless adults were, the by far going to be the biggest segment of your gym membership, but maybe it turns out that families with kids are actually much bigger percentage than you thought they were going to be. And so this can totally shift. Initially, if you haven't launched your business yet, this is just a guess. Maybe if you are up and running and you haven't done this type of analysis yet, then you may kind of be guessing as well. And you can pull your customer base to really figure out, okay, who are the people that are coming to the gym, and really having a clear, defined idea of this information can really help you in terms of your marketing effort and making sure that you're serving the needs for those customers that you have. All right. So the next part here is the competitive landscape. So this kind of finishes out our opportunity. And this is, making a list of your competitors, and making sure that you have a clear idea of how your solution is better than theirs or different. What is differentiating you from your competitors? And a couple of good things to think about with this part of your Lien plan is you may have there may be competitors that don't initially come to mind. So for this gym, a direct competitor would be another gym, probably another gym that is branding themselves as a more premier gym in town, and that those are going to be obvious competitors that you're going to want to check out. But if it seems like, well, there's nobody in town doing exactly what I'm doing, so maybe a good example of a lot of businesses that have popped up recently. Let's say an escape room, right? Let's say you want to start an escape room, and it's the first one in Eugene. There are no escape rooms in Eugene. So that doesn't mean that you leave the competitive landscape section totally empty. You have other businesses that are still competing for those same dollars and solving those same problems. They just don't happen to be escape rooms. So really try to think about all of your direct competition that have businesses that look very similar to yours, but also try to think about indirect competition. Who else is competing for solving those same problems and those same dollars that your customers are spending? And that can really help you get a full view of this competitive landscape and make sure that you are differentiating yourself and tackling that unique opportunity. All right, another thing to think about with this competitive landscape is this is actually a pretty easy set of hypotheses to test. And the best way to test that is just to walk into your competitor's business and see what they're doing, see what the experience is like, order something from them, really do some boots on the ground research there, and that can go a long way. So, if you're up and running and you haven't walked into your competitor's store or gone onto their website, it can be really, really valuable to do that, to do some of that direct research to make sure that you are fully understanding what they're doing and what you can do to make yourself stand out. All right, so the next section is funding needs here. So this is pretty straightforward. For funding needs, you probably want to do some forecasting before you put a number in here. Again, you can put your best guess, but this is really going to be tested with a forecast. So you can kind of think about all the dollars that are coming in, all the dollars that are coming out, what you need to spend and purchase to get your business up and running, when that spending needs to happen, and that'll give you a really good idea of how much funding you want to be seeking, because you definitely don't want to ask for too little and not have enough money to actually get the business off the ground, but you don't want to ask for too much and end up giving away too much equity in your business or having too much debt for the business to cover. So put your best guess in here as you're getting through this lean plan, and then you can start to do some financial modeling and see, okay, does that really make sense? And do some more research on firming up some of those numbers that you might have in your forecast. But you can display that here and put in what you're going to be spending that funding on, and your forecast can help with that too, really making sure you're thinking about each of those expenditures and where that money is going to come from. All right, so for your sales channel here, just listing, really thinking about directly, how are people going to buy your product? In this gym, they are signing up at the gym at the desk. So that's one way that memberships can sign up and subscribe to the gym. And then there's also sales staff in the gym that sell the events. So that's a slightly different sales channel. It's not quite memberships. They're not necessarily doing that at the desk and front. So they're working with vendors for event sales. And then there's also a sales channel through the website where you can purchase a punch card, and the website is not mature enough to be selling the apparel that they want, but that's another opportunity to have a sales channel in the gym. And then your marketing activities, and this is a great area to really test some things for your business and see, hey, what marketing campaigns can we run? What can we try? Where do we think we're going to be able to reach our target market? And then really paying close attention to those results and being ready to shift and pivot. But by making a list of what you want to do, you can start checking those boxes and making sure that you are directing your marketing in a way that aligns with all the rest of this stuff, making sure that you're clearly communicating how you're going to be solving the problems that your customers are having, that you have a good understanding of what those problems are, that you really know how you're differentiating yourself from the competitors, and who your target market is, what they're doing, what they're looking at. All of those things can really help you figure out which marketing activities are going to give you the most bang for your buck. And then you can put those in here and start testing them and running some campaigns, and making sure that you have a way to track those results and see if those marketing dollars are well spent, if they're giving you the results that you want in terms of new customers or leads. All right, so now we have the forecast here. And there's a couple different ways that you can use this forecast section in the LivePlan pitch. So one really cool thing is if you go on and you build a full forecast in here, which the software will help you through that process to develop your forward-looking financial forecast, you can actually just pull in a summary here. So Shauna has developed her forecast in LivePlan, so she can just summarize her numbers actually in this pitch. But if you're just starting this lean planning process, it'll probably be more helpful to just start with a short list. Before you put numbers to this, just put in what those major, where the money's coming from and what the major costs are going to be, and just listing those in your pitch and moving on to the next thing. And then as you do your forecast, you can start to think about, okay, well, how many memberships are we going to have? How much are our members going to be spending? How much are we going to charge for membership? Are we going to charge an upfront fee, or are we just going to let people sign up for free and then have our ongoing membership revenue? So you can you can think about what all those numbers are going to be later when you do your forecast, but just listing out these major revenue streams can help you. So when you get to the forecast, um, what those major categories are that you need to start putting some numbers to. So lastly here, we have the milestone. This is really straightforward, but whatever you're using to put this together, when you're thinking about your milestones, you want to make sure that you have a due date for it, that it's assigned to somebody on the team so that they know who's going to do it. And you can put some details in here, maybe how you're going to measure that milestone, what the financial implications are. Those are good details to think about as you're putting these milestones in, but it's really helpful to know what's coming up, what's late, and help to coordinate your action to align with your plan. This is a fun part. So who's on the team? What makes them, special and unique and uniquely qualified to help your business succeed? And I think it's awesome to put pictures in here. So if you can round up pictures of all your team members that are on the team, you can upload those here, so it makes your pitch very, very real and really help you to kind of visualize, okay, these are the team members, and it adds some great visual appeal to your pitch in LivePlan to have those pictures in there and really define those team members and what they're going to be doing.
Justin,
and then lastly, yep, go ahead.
Somebody would like to have another look at the forecasting. Can you go
great.
back to that?
Yeah. So this is the forecast in the pitch. And what I might do here is go over to the forecast in LivePlan to show you what it would actually look like to build the forecast, so that you can get from this short list description to the forecast charts and data that we showed, where you can actually summarize your full financial forecast in there. But initially, LivePlan's going to just kind of give you some instructions here on how to put that list of revenue streams and major costs together. And that's what's going to show up in your plan. All right, so we've done a little bit of a deeper dive into all the sections of your pitch and your Lien plan. And depending on how much of this information you have on hand, you may be able to get through this Lien planning process in an hour or a couple hours, or 30 minutes. It's meant to be a quick process where you're not spending too much time on each of these sections, but you're going through, you're finishing it, and then you're putting your best guess, knowing that you're going to get more information, you're going to do more research, and you're going to start taking action and running your business, and that's going to give you all the information you need to really refine and update this plan. And this can really act as the core strategic plan for your business. So this is giving you all the value of the research, the forward thinking, the thought process, the strategizing that goes into writing a full business plan, without the agonizing over all the details, spending hours and hours writing everything down in prose. So again, kind of stripping out those really time-consuming activities, but giving you all the value of writing and finishing a business plan. And this plan is going to be much more valuable because it's a lot easier to update and change over time. And so you're able to kind of apply that scientific method to your business that can really help you stay agile, make sure that you're making the right adjustments based on the information that you're receiving as a business owner. Okay, so the next part of this is what next? So once you've written your strategic plan, what can you do with that? So this plan can actually spin out and give you some deliverables that can help you in your journey as a business owner, again, regardless of where you're at. So this pitch, if you put this together in LivePlan, it'll actually give you a slide deck. So if you're going to be doing any kind of formal pitching for investment or entering any competitions, you can take all that work that you did to put together your Lien plan. LivePlan automatically turns that into a pitch deck that you can then use for a presentation to share your pitch. This also can be shared as a 1 to 2 page PDF, which is a great business summary. It's like the movie trailer for the blockbuster hit of your business. And so you can use this to pique some interest in somebody who may come to work for your company, or you may want to partner with, or a lender. It's a great way for them to kind of at a high level get a really good understanding of what you're doing as a business, how you're positioned in the market, and interest them to dive a little bit deeper, maybe into your full business plan or into your financial forecast. Okay, so we do have a question here. So the question is, in general, is there a preference between PowerPoint or Word doc? So that may be from a lender's perspective. For the pitch, the PowerPoint is really meant to be a presentation. So any scenario where it would be helpful to have some slides to go through to give an in-person or virtual presentation, that's when the pitch is going to be really helpful. And the PowerPoint is editable once you generate it. So that's another good question there. So the question was, is the PowerPoint editable once generated? And you need to add more context. So totally, yeah. And LivePlan is going to give you a really great starting point and cover all those major components that were in the Lien plan. But you may and probably will want to add to that. So you can put your own kind of branding on there, your own color scheme, more visuals and images. You can put video clips in there. So there's a lot that you can do once you have that initial PowerPoint. But if you're anything like me, it's starting with a blank slate or a blank template is just agonizing, and it's hard to get to that point where you have a foundation and then you can start building off it and it's more fun. So this helps you to get that starting point where then you can do make some edits and put your own personality and unique kind of branding into that pitch. All right, so that's all the things that you can do with that Lien plan. The next steps would be kind of informed on what you need. So if you go through your Lien plan and you completed this section where you do need funding, if you're going to be applying for a bank loan, you're going to need more of a full formal business plan. And so LivePlan can actually help you put that together. And so it'll give you the full business plan outline and really provide a lot of step-by-step instructions as you're writing your business plan. If you've never written a plan before, it makes it really, really easy. There are examples in here as you're tackling each of these sections of the plan. But if you've done your Lien plan first, this problem we're solving is going to be a lot easier because you've already kind of done the research. You have those bullet points of the problems that you're solving. You just need to put those into more of a formal plan element here. And once you finish this, then LivePlan will give you that full formal business plan. So you can kind of apply what you put in the pitch, do the research, work with the Women's Business Center to kind of expand on those things and do that market research. All of those things go into your plan, and LivePlan will help you organize and put it all together into a nice, finished, professional-looking business plan that you could submit for lending, or even if you don't need a loan, sometimes it can be helpful to have more of a formal plan in place. And as you start to validate those things that were those guesses that were in your pitch, the plan is a great place to then put those and really have a full strategic plan that you can follow as a business owner. Of course, part of the plan, and not everybody's favorite part of the plan, it's certainly not mine, is the forecasting. So actually putting some numbers to this, doing some financial modeling. This is really a critical component to doing this Lien plan. Again, you should definitely do some amount of forecasting, even if you aren't applying for funding. It can really help you to make sure that the numbers are backing up the story that you told in the pitch. And this is really where the rubber meets the road in terms of what needs to happen for your business to be successful, making sure that you're paying attention to cash flow, and that ultimately your business is going to reach profitability. And being able to model that and to think about all those variables can be super, super helpful. The nice thing about doing this in LivePlan, again, there's lots of templates out here that can help you to do a profit and loss forecast, a cash flow forecast. LivePlan does not use an Excel format. So it's more of a kind of question answer step-by-step process. And yeah, and so it can make it a little bit easier to do some guessing. So we see a couple comments in here. So, forecasting is haunting to me, not sure how to estimate my numbers. And then another comment of forecasting is where I'm struggling as well, especially because my business is not quite up and running. So yeah, that can be the challenging part. If you don't have years of historical financials to pull from, you feel like you're just guessing at the future, and you're not quite sure what those numbers are going to be. And so there are some good resources that can help you to make those guesses. One thing to keep in mind is that same scientific method that we used for the pitch, where you're doing a plan, you're putting it into action, you're looking at the results, and then you're updating it. That same thing is happening with your forecast numbers. So really, and then it can also be helpful to know that, no matter what you put into your forecast, no matter what numbers you put in there, it's always going to be wrong. Nobody can predict the future. If we could, we wouldn't need to start businesses. We could just invest in the stock market. We'd all be rich because we would know exactly what's going to happen. So, starting with the understanding of, yep, all my numbers are going to be wrong, but I'm going to do the best guess that I can make now. And then I'm going to go out and get more information, be paying attention to things and updating, making that guess better as I go. And so those are the things. And a tool like LivePlan, if you've never done a financial forecast before, or if you've struggled doing one within an Excel spreadsheet, this is a tool that can really, really simplify things and make it easier, ask you all the right questions. We have lots of instructions and video tutorials in here. The Women's Business Center can help you as you're putting together this forecast to really try to figure out what the opportunity is, where you might want to set your pricing at, estimating sales, all those things. They can help you kind of access the right market research resources to put the right numbers in here. And LivePlan is going to help you to visualize and to build that model without needing a background in finance. And we built this forecasting tool for people who are not accountants. Accountants are typically, if you're an accountant, you probably are great with Excel, and doing this work in LivePlan might be frustrating because it's slowing you down. You can just do everything in Excel. But if you are not an accountant, then this is a tool that can really help you to get through your financial forecast without needing that background, and make sure that you're understanding the numbers that are going in here, and you can really build a good financial model. And so those are kind of the immediate next steps. Once you have your Lien plan, that can turn into a lot of different things. That can turn into a pitch. It can turn into a strategic roadmap for your business. It can turn into a lender-ready plan. But having that core plan in place gives you all the value of that planning activity. And now you can dress it up and turn it into different things that that can really help you. And if you're getting LivePlan through the Women's Business Center, you're going to be able to do all of this. So you can start with the pitch, but everybody's going to have access to do a forecast, do a plan. There are benchmarks in here where you can compare your numbers to industry averages. So lots of great work that you can do, and then you can keep using your plan from there. So LivePlan will actually even connect to your accounting software, so you can see, okay, I made all these assumptions, I made all these guesses in my forecast. What actually happened? What are my numbers, and how are those comparing with what I thought was going to happen? And then I can take that information and go back and keep updating my forecasts, and to get a really good understanding of what's happening with the business. So those are some great next steps once you have that initial plan in place. But again, kind of getting started with the smallest possible version of a business plan to get it finished is going to be a great start and really put you in a good position to succeed. And a tool like LivePlan makes it easier, but really working with an advisor at the Women's Business Center, they can be your partner here to really help you through each of these steps. And the tool, is making things automated, easier, saving you some time. But really working with somebody who has the expertise, who can connect you to the right resources and kind of answer all the questions that LivePlan is going to ask you. And then this helps you just turn that into the deliverables that can be really helpful for you. It's a great pairing. So again, that's why we really value our partnership with the Women's Business Center. We're excited that all of you were able to join today. I hope this content was helpful. I want to take the last couple minutes here. I'm keeping an eye on questions, but I'm going to switch back to our slides because I know there's a few more slides to get through. I did see one question earlier that was asking if we would share these slides afterwards. So I think the answer to that is yes. So
Yes.
these will be sent out so everybody who attended will have access. One of the activities in here is a fill in the blanks exercise. I can help you put together a great headline in that pitch. So that will be shared out as well. We have some resources from the LivePlan team that can just give some additional context here. We have some great webinars, Lien planning resources, lots of information about that Lien planning process that you can look through. And people have been doing a great job of asking questions throughout. So we have a couple minutes. I can hang out if anybody has any last minute questions here. And I know that Heidi has some items to share for more upcoming training through the Women's Business Center.
Thank you. Yes. I'm just going to go through my few slides and then we'll answer the remaining questions in the chat. But we've been answering questions all along, but just wanted to, first of all, thank you, Justin. That was really great, really interesting. And I know a lot of people are very excited about the tool. We do have other trainings and webinars coming up. So please visit our website to register and to get more information. We have one on government contracting, one on cybersecurity basics. Can you go to the next slide? We have one on grant writing for small businesses. Also, that could be relevant for nonprofits, and exit strategies and business valuation, which is also very important. And then we have a webinar coming up on hiring your first employee, or HR. Can you go back? Thank you. We will have an ongoing webinar starting on the 26th. It will be a monthly or bi-monthly webinar on how to start a business. We also are offering how to start a business in Amharic. We have also how to start your business in Spanish. And then we have peer-to-peer discussions on various topics. The next one is on fashion and beauty. So I would encourage you to take a look at that. More information is on our website. You can go to the next slide. And this is just a list of who we are at the Women's Business Center. We're here to help you. Sade McCoy is our communications specialist, Monty Taylor, our resource coordinator, and Latoya Brent is our small business counselor. And again, as I mentioned several times, when you go to sign up for a counseling session, please specify that you'd like to write a business plan using the LivePlan tool. And our counselor will know to help you using that tool. You do not need to subscribe to LivePlan before scheduling an appointment. We subscribe, we have the license at the DC Women's Business Center, and we will share that and enroll you in that. And Justin, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, yeah, that's a perfect sequence. Yeah. So the first thing is to engage with the Women's Business Center, get connected, and yeah, let them know what your needs are, what you want to work on. And if you do want access to LivePlan, then you can jump in and get started at no cost to you through the Women's Business Center. So really great opportunity to use that resource.
Right. And we work with you remotely, so we would share screens and go through it with you at that point. Good. Well, it's a couple minutes after the hour. We will send the slides and the recording out to you either later today or tomorrow, at least by the end of the week. So, and if you do have other questions, feel free to reach out to any of us. We're happy to answer those. And thank you. I'm glad it was very helpful. And thank you again, Justin. Have a good day.
Thank you. Yep. Really excited to engage with everybody. Thanks so much for attending. And I'm around. So if you have any questions for me, just ask Heidi or anybody else at the Women's Business Center, and I'm sure we can connect, and happy to help out.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe. Bye-bye.